everyone, I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you today, Steph, Russ, Chef Rob? How are you all?
Better on the inside than I look on the outside, Kim.
Oh, that's why you Chef Rob. All right. How about you, Russ? How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You're doing more than great. You're so modest, but it's okay. We'll get to that at some point for sure. And also, Steph, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having us, Kim.
All right. Glad to have you all. Listen, everybody, grab your virtual seats because we have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about why fundraisers, a specific fundraiser in particular, are very important when it comes to finding a cure for cystic fibrosis. We're going to learn more about CF. We call it CF and cystic fibrosis, and what it is, what are some of the statistics, and all of the things that you will want to know about cystic fibrosis. So make sure that you all grab your virtual seats. Let us know where you're visiting in from, and we will pop your comments up on the screen and just give some shout outs to you. I see you. And yes, Dr. Tina Ramsey, you're right. It's typically Freestyle Friday here on the Kim Jacobs Show. And on this Freestyle Friday, we're going to be specifically focusing on cystic fibrosis. So that's what we're going to tackle today as our topic. All right, everybody. So I see you from Nigeria. I see all of you grabbing your virtual seats. I know y'all are in line. You're out there in the studio audience line, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm trying to get into the studio audience, Kim, so I can put my name up. So I cannot wait for you all to do that. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and I see you Philly is in the house, Nigeria is in the house. All of you all, we welcome you today. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to formally introduce these wonderful warriors, I call them, CF warriors. All right, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
It's not just another day, it's a brand new day, full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements, and we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
All right, everyone, we're back, and today we're going to be talking about a hearty topic is what I would consider it, and it's very intense information, but everybody, I believe, needs to know. So, Steph, if you would, tell everybody what cystic fibrosis is.
Absolutely. So I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about cystic fibrosis on this channel because Kim has 3 children with cystic fibrosis. But cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease where thick, sticky mucus builds up in the lungs and in the body, mostly the pancreas and the digestive system, that leads to degradation of the body over time. There is no cure for cystic fibrosis, but we have some wonderful drugs in development that are brought to you by programs such as the Extreme Hike and Special Events Fundraising. So we're going to talk more about that today. Just recently, we had got a message that our community is growing, and you're like, what? How is our community growing? And it's because people with CF are living longer lives. CF is a rare orphan disease, so we don't get any federal funding because we have a patient population of under 100,000 here in the United States. Within the past 5 years, though, we've gone from 30,000 people to 40,000 people with cystic fibrosis in the U.S., and that's because, once again, they are living longer. There's about 105,000 people worldwide with cystic fibrosis, and we're here to fight for them all.
And I'm really glad because you know what? Today is International Youth Day. So, everybody, shout out to all of the international youth. But there are some of these youth that live with this particular disease. And we want to make sure that any of them, too, have a fighting chance to be able to kick this disease in the head. And so, if you know someone that lives with cystic fibrosis, today you're going to learn some ways to just be considerate of those individuals as well, and also why these particular people chose to become so passionate about fighting for a cure for this disease. So, Chef Rob, I would love for you, if you would, to just tell us a little bit about your backstory. Well, first, you know what, let me formally introduce you guys. I'll introduce you guys because that's what I want to do. Okay, let me do that. Then I'll hear your backstories. How about that? Stephanie Cherry is a development director with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Western Carolinas chapter, and she's been serving the WNC, Western North Carolina community as a professional fundraiser for 8 years. She is very devoted to this project, y'all, very passionate about it. Among other campaigns, she manages the Extreme Hike to Cure Cystic Fibrosis, which challenges hikers to hike 30 and 20 miles in just one day. So that's what we're going to be talking about a lot today. This is Stephanie Cherry, and I have lots of other information here that I'm going to allow her to share when she shares her backstory, if that's fair. Okay. Then we also have Rob Anderson, and Rob Anderson is a 5-time extreme hiker, CFF volunteer, and WNC board member. And while he is not a real chef, wait.
It's
Okay.
true. I'm actually a terrible cook.
Okay, we're going to learn a lot more about that. Right now, I'm just saying the bio. Okay, so he's not a real chef. Got me calling you Chef Rob. Okay. Coach Rob contributes to the extreme hike by not only fundraising and leading one of our top teams, Dudes with Poles, but he is our go-to presenter on safety. He volunteers quite a bit, and we're going to learn more about his story as well. And then it is definitely my honor and privilege to have Russ Jackson here today. And again, he's so modest, but he's truly an inspiration and an anomaly. I'll let him tell you all of the details, but he is turned 65 years old this year, born with cystic fibrosis. And I'm going to let him tell you a lot more about that and how many times he's actually hiked this hike. I can't spoil that in the bio. I'm not going to do that. But it's something else very important to know that has happened. And he's one of the longer living people that live with what he has inside of his body. That's what I'm going to say about that. Welcome, Russ Jackson.
Thank you.
All right. So welcome you all to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Very happy to be here. Thanks.
Now, Rob,
Thank
you
you,
were
Kim.
getting ready to tell us you're not a real chef. Tell us your backstory and a little bit about why you became so passionate to help find a cure for cystic fibrosis.
Sure. So I'm just some guy. That really is the deal. I, when I was 35, like most folks who, as we get older, was looking for a little bit more purpose in my life. Somebody that I was working with said, "Hey, do you like hiking?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he said, "Come join us." Shout out to Ben DeBoe, by the way. Thanks, Ben. And so I met the CF Hike team. I had no idea what cystic fibrosis was. Had never, that I knew of, met anybody with the disease. And once I met these people, I realized, wow, this is such a wonderful community of caring people from all walks of life and backgrounds. And they look out for each other. And it was a gift, honestly, to just be involved with these folks. And so as we trained, which I'm sure Steph's going to talk a little bit more about, as we trained, we were kind of doing battle together, and those battlefield friendships are close. And it became part of my identity. Fast forward, what is it, 6 years now, and it's central to who I am. And I try to contribute as much as I can. I work a little more than I would like to. And I've got 2 children who are getting older that I want to be sure I spend some time with. But in the moments that I have to spare, it's out there on the trails doing battle against CF. The other thing is, finding a sense of purpose is always something that's huge for us as adults, but also feeling like what you're doing is making a difference is a huge motivating factor. And the things that have improved since I started hiking
Mhm.
are tremendous. It's unbelievable. And the money that we're raising is going to a legitimate cause that is very open with how they spend their cash. And as Steph mentioned before, you're talking about an orphan disease that doesn't get federal funding or anything else. So every dollar that we raise when we're out there on the trail goes directly to the patients and the research, and you can see it in the advancements that have happened. So yeah, I'm just some guy, just like any of you watching right now.
Well, you're some special guy to take this on as one of your life's missions, and to have a family that supports you at that level and understands, because I'm assuming with this level of training, we're gonna get a lot more in detail about the hike itself. Right now, I just wanted to hear more of your backstory, why you became so passionate about doing this, and I'm honored to know you. Thank you so much, Chef Rob.
Likewise.
And I'm trying to make sure I don't cry a lot during this episode, because personally, for me, I personally thank you. And yeah, I personally thank you from the bottom
You're
of my
very
heart.
welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Steph, tell us your backstory for a moment, if you don't mind, and tell us, do you know someone with cystic fibrosis that's close to you? Different things that may have inspired you to take this on as a mission, please.
Yeah, now I have many people that I'm very close to with cystic fibrosis, including Russ on this call, and 1,000 reasons why I hike in the state of North Carolina, honestly. But when I started, I didn't have a direct connection to cystic fibrosis. I was going to school and I was on a nursing trek, and I did an internship with the American Cancer Society as part of my education, and I did a dog walk, and we raised $17,000 through forming this, logistical event. And I found out that my passion was really there. So I decided to switch my track to a Bachelor of Science in Public Health. And then when I graduated college, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation opportunity kind of fell in my lap. And what I really, really liked about Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is the progress that had been made, the hope that was in the community. Once again, just the tangibility of what people are doing, you can see it in everything that we're doing. But also because we did events such as the Extreme Hike and a Brewers Ball, which was an all North Carolina beer and liquor and wine festival. And I liked that the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation wasn't relying on traditional galas and walks to get their fundraising done.
Right.
They were really reaching out there for new progressive events where people would want to get involved, whether they had a direct connection to cystic fibrosis or they don't. Something that we'll talk about today is the majority of our hikers don't have a direct connection to cystic fibrosis. They come in for the hiking, and then we introduce them to the mission, and then they stay with us. They don't seem to want to leave.
No, once they get involved, no.
It's true.
It's such a great program, and I'll let them talk more about it. But that's how I got started, and now I just have so many people that I do what I do for. I'm passionate about it, including Jayla, Jeremiah, and Ivan.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And I'm so glad that our paths cross, because you are a gift from God, in my opinion. I don't know. I do need to know, and as a part of your backstory too, how did you become a part of the CF Foundation in the Western Carolinas? Because you've been doing it for 8 years, but I would like to know, because this is the gift to our community that God gave us, you.
Well, thank you. No, I actually was working at a beer bar outside of college when I was, just graduating. And I told a couple people there that I had applied for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation job, and they introduced me to someone who was working there. So other than switching from the nursing track to the public health track and doing the American Cancer Society internship, it was just meeting people, networking, which is something you do great, Kim, and something that I have to do in my job every day.
You do. You're a master at it. That's for sure. So you're a master connector. Now, Russ, tell us your backstory, because you were born with cystic fibrosis and you're now 65 years old, right?
That's correct. Well, 64.
Oh, 60. Oh, keep
no, I turned 65 this year.
But that's right. So I have coming up on 65. Sorry.
That's right.
64.
Well, as you said, I was born with cystic fibrosis, which is hereditary disease. It's a genetic defect. It's passed along. But I was born in the year of our Lord, 1957. And the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation was founded in 1955. And so, we've kind of grown up together. But when I was born, I was presented as sort of a failure to thrive, and my pediatrician puts some significant things together that my mother said when she kissed my forehead. I tasted salty, and that's a trait of CF. Our salt glands are clogged with the mucus, and so we often have salt crystals on us. So the story began right there, and I was diagnosed and at that point, my parents were told that I probably wouldn't live to go to kindergarten, which was the life expectancy. And just to take that piece right there, I would maybe have lived to be 5 years old. And today, that is 53 years old. And I'm like you, Kim, I can get emotional with this stuff too. And I attribute so much of that to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, the things that I have experienced through my life, the therapies, the medications. But if you look at that, nearly every decade of my life, about 6 or 7 years has been added to the life expectancy for these folks with CF. And it's just, it's amazing. It's so heartwarming to know that this foundation, and there are many charitable foundations and with very good causes. However, this is the best. And so that's what I've seen through my life from the CF Foundation. And the reason I'm here today is because of the work, the therapies, the medications, the research, the patient care. One of the things that's not mentioned very much, or as frequently, of course, there are a lot of research going in to new medications, but patient care is the piece of the puzzle that was so important to me. There were centers set up across the country where there's one at UNC Chapel Hill locally, there's MUSC in South Carolina, and also Duke University. And so these care centers, I was able to go to and get the full package of the attention I needed, where it was with, of course, the lung disease, pancreatic disease, there's cystic fibrosis related diabetes, and on and on. And there was a one-stop location that I needed to thrive. And so there, I could go on and on and on, but those are the things that the CF Foundation has brought to my life. And I say this, that, the CF is not about my future, it's about my past. And one of the reasons we do what we do is for the future of the kids, of the young people, young adults, and their future, it honestly is just so bright, and just because of the work of the foundation.
Wow. I'm so inspired that you're here today, here to tell your story. And I know that everyone around the world is so intrigued by the fact that you have kicked longevity. You've lived well beyond what was supposed to be expected, and you're here looking like you are the bill of health. And we're going to talk about how many times, not yet, but we're going to talk about how many times this man, Russ Jackson, actually did this hike. So we're going to be talking about that as well. I do want to pop up here and let you know that we have 5 children, right? So 5 children, and Frank Jacobson and myself, we birthed 5 children. And of our 5 children, 3 of them live with cystic fibrosis. And I want to put their pictures up. This is Ivan. Ivan is our 21-year-old son that lives with cystic fibrosis, did not get diagnosed until he was about 17 years old. So when people say, oh, I found out at birth, I was diagnosed at birth, 17, he lived for 17 years going to the emergency rooms. We didn't know what was going on, getting IV fluids. It was so much stuff. Just so you all know, that to have from an African-American family perspective, it's a very rare thing for them to be able to live with this disease. So they weren't even checked at birth for it, because who knew that even African-Americans was living with this? Then we have Jeremiah, my 17-year-old son now, but he was diagnosed at the age of 13. And so he lived for 13 years, getting diagnosed at urgent cares with what is it, bronchitis every year and all kind of mucus and stuff, but we never knew it was actually cystic fibrosis. My daughter, Jayla, she was diagnosed at the age of 5 years old. We thought she was going to pass away. She was very malnutritious and lacked all kinds of nutrients. Eyes were sunken deep, threw up projectile style 8 to 10 times a day. Took her to all kinds of specialty hospitals, never could figure it out until she got pneumonia. And when she got diagnosed with pneumonia and was checked at the hospital, they checked her for cystic fibrosis. So in our house, cystic fibrosis is very real. So everybody in the community that's tuning in today, many of you may want to know with my family what's going on. I have a son that transitioned to be with the Lord, and Gabriel, we don't know. We don't know if he has cystic fibrosis or had it or not, because we didn't even know the other ones had it. So where Gabriel's now in heaven, I believe, we don't know if part of his demise, in my opinion, was due to possibly cystic fibrosis and us going undetected and unknowing it. So anyway, I don't want to go, I don't want to go too far, but I'm grateful. Over here, you see Frankie, our oldest son. He does not live with cystic fibrosis. And clearly the reason I'm putting this picture up is because Frank Sr. and myself, we must have some kind of gene, because it's a hereditary disease. So I wanted you all.
And I just like to speak to that and the disparity that you're talking about. Not only have African Americans gone misdiagnosed because cystic fibrosis is a predominantly Western European disease, or at least that's where we think the descent traces back to. We're not sure. We would have a better grasp on that. But now cystic fibrosis testing is mandatory, no matter your skin color, prenatally, state by state. So these things are being tested for at birth, where they weren't before, because they didn't know, they didn't have the information or the education. And we can thank that prenatal screening thanks to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and the efforts of our advocates, and things like that. So we're really excited to be making changes in that sense. But it's, just so heartbreaking to know that Gabe could have had CF, and that you guys will never know. And we just thank you for sharing your story. And it's so nice to get to know Jayla and Jeremiah and Ivan and see them thrive on Trikafta.
Yes, they actually they're on Symdeko. And the reason that they're on Symdeko is because Trikafta, with their particular gene deletion, they can't take Trikafta, but Trikafta is a blockbuster product that is just helping so many people thrive at a completely different level. I know Gunnar Esiason, he talks often about how it's a miracle product for him. And so everybody that is in the CF world loves Trikafta. And for those that can't take it, which are some of my children, Symdeko is the other blockbuster, and it's changed their lives. So I do want to just tell you that they spoke recently at Truist Field in the Charlotte area, at a big baseball field. And thanks to Stephanie over there, she made all of this possible and gives our children an opportunity to be cystic fibrosis ambassadors. And they take it very seriously, because they get a chance to help other people be inspired to know that you can thrive and you can live a great life, even with this particular disease state. So today, everybody, we are talking with some wonderful individuals that's here to tell you that, guess what? You have to participate in some kind of fundraisers in this world that will allow some type of cure, or at least help find a cure for cystic fibrosis. And that's why they're doing these particular fundraisers. So tell us, Stephanie, as we're going to take a commercial break, but right after this commercial break, we're going to come back and we're going to hear about the extreme hike. Everything that's all extreme hike. What can we expect? How can people participate? We want to know a lot more when we come back from this break. Before we take the break, Mackenzie, pop some of Mackenzie's backstage, everybody. But before we take the break, pop some of the comments up from the virtual studio audience. Let's see who's out here. Watching from Liberia. Hello, Melvin. Glad to have you. Keep them coming, Mackenzie. Let's see. Okay, I see all your hearts and prayers. Great Facebook user. Other comments. It's been a lot of comments, so I didn't want to miss any of them. There's a whole bunch. I see Cheryl said you have a testimony. Yes, we all here today have a testimony, a story to tell. Any others? Peace all. I see Unseen Soldiers saying peace all. Testimony. I'll pop these up. Let me see. Peace all. From Nigeria, Caleb said hello. From Guyana, listening from New Jersey. Okay, it's impressed. Glad to have you. Any questions you all have, pop them in the comment section. That'll give them an opportunity to possibly address it for you, okay? And India is in the house. I see you. I see you. Okay. A lot of different people from around the globe. Speaking globally for a second, Stephanie, any thoughts on any global comment that you can say? Because we know people have cystic fibrosis globally as well. Not from a statistical perspective, but just any comment or encouragement.
Right. Well, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is in the United States. So we're the leading, organization in the search for a cure for cystic fibrosis. Of course, we have a patient population of 105,000 worldwide. So there's many other people out there that need targeted therapies and need the things that the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation can give them. There are some organizations abroad that help people with cystic fibrosis, but I think we're lucky to be here in the United States with the treatment that we get. I can't really speak to the international programs that are there, but once again, that population is growing. It used to be 100,000 and now it's 105,000 because people with cystic fibrosis are living longer thanks to these CF modulators that Kim was talking about, whether it be Symdeko or Trikafta. These are looking to correct the genetic defect at its source. So not only does fundraising for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation help people with cystic fibrosis, but it aids in the fight for a cure for other genetic diseases.
That's really good. Okay, so listen, when we come back after this commercial break, we're going to hear something about a fundraiser that all of you can participate in, no matter where you are. You can definitely pour into this particular project. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter & Everett, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
Everyone, we are back, and listen, we are having already a great deep dive just to hear the backstories of these individuals that have become so passionate about helping to find a cure for cystic fibrosis. I do want people to know how to be able to stay connected with you all. So please make sure that Russ, tell them how they can stay connected with you.
You can reach me at Russ Jackson 14 on most platforms.
Okay. All right. Russ Jackson, the number 14 for any of the podcast listeners. You can reach him at Russ Jackson and the number 14 on most social media platforms. How can they stay connected with you, Chef Rob?
Chefhikes.com. That's the number one spot. You can hit me on social there and read all about what I'm trying to do for my friends with CF.
All right. All right. And Steph, how can they stay connected with you?
You can email me at scherry@cff.org or visit our Extreme Hike website, which is wncextremehike.org/fall 2022.
All right. And make sure that you all do not miss the opportunity to visit this site, wncextremehike.org/fall 2022. It's going to be a lot of information there for you all. And what we're going to do right now is learn more about this extreme hike. And you're going to hear from Steph Cherry right after we hear this about what's happening.
The Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's Extreme Hike leads hikers through some of the most scenic trails in the country to raise funds and awareness for the fight to cure cystic fibrosis. It all started back in 2009 when avid hikers John Barlow and Amos Beeson challenged themselves to hike 30.1 miles in a single day on the Art Loeb Trail to raise money for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. This seemingly insignificant challenge between two friends sparked a multi-decade national movement that's raised over $20 million so far. And what began as a small event hosted by the Charlotte chapter of the CF Foundation has ballooned to include over 20 other chapters across the nation that have hosted more than 185 extreme hike events to date. Sounds fun, right? Here's how it works. The extreme hike's held twice a year in the fall and spring, and hike locations change annually to keep things interesting. Participation includes a 3-month, tightly coordinated training program led by our extreme hike coaches on some amazing trails. This program's tailored specifically to get you from your couch to the finish line with confidence, and it includes all the resources you need to meet your $3,000 fundraising goal with ease too. Best of all, it gives you a great excuse to get outside and hang out with new friends. The training program culminates with the Extreme Hike event, which includes a 2-night hotel stay and spans an entire awesome weekend. You and your fellow hikers arrive Friday afternoon, check in, and meet for an inspirational pasta dinner, which includes highlights from the training season, stories from hikers, and inspirational words from people affected by CF. After dinner, it's lights out, because at about 2:30 on Saturday morning, you and your fellow hikers, as well as all the volunteers, will come together for breakfast and a group picture, then set off for the trail where you'll don your headlamp and begin the 30.1-mile extreme hike in darkness. The hike takes you most of the day and concludes with a big finish where your friends, family, a few beverages, and as many slices of pizza as you can handle await to help you celebrate your accomplishment. Saturday night, you'll be treated to a finisher's dinner and reception celebration where you can regale your fellow hikers with tales of sore muscles, mind-bending trailside grilled cheese, and fond memories you'll never forget. After the best night's sleep you've ever had, you and your fellow hikers will gather Sunday morning for an emotional victory celebration and awards breakfast that you don't want to miss. It's amazing. The best part is, if you commit to meeting or exceeding your fundraising goal, your room, food, and celebration reception's on us. Think of it as a token of our appreciation for your hard work. Your participation in the extreme hike makes a real, tangible difference in the lives of people with cystic fibrosis. Considered an orphan disease, CF research doesn't benefit from government grants or subsidies, so the money you raise and the awareness you create directly impacts the foundation and its army of researchers working to ensure we all see a future where CF stands for Cure Found. Join us. You won't regret it.
Yes, join them. You will not regret it. And I'm so glad that Steph Cherry is here today with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation in the Western Carolinas area to talk about extreme hike. So talk to us, Steph.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to cut this question over to Chef Rob because I think that he does a great job talking about the program. He did the video and put together the video that you just saw. So I'll let him talk about our fall extreme hike, which is coming up September 30th through October 1st, and the training and everything that comes with it.
Okay.
Cool. Happy to comment verbosely. So first thing is the extreme hike is for everyone. A humongous part of the concept is that we finish with a huge challenge, and that's 30.1 miles on the Appalachian Trail in a single day. That is a very long hike, and to get there takes a lot of training. And so ultimately, we have a couch to hike day training program that everybody participates in. And through that process, you really get to know everyone along the way. You know, it's that battlefield friendship that I was talking about before. And so, you know, if you feel like maybe you're out of shape or you've been sitting behind the desk for too long and this seems like something that would be fun, but, you know, that's a long way. Don't worry. We'll get you there. Show up to 80% of the hikes and you'll cross the finish line. That's the deal. It covers a weekend. So ultimately, what is it? Sometime in October. I haven't looked. Sorry, Steph. What are the dates?
September 30th through October 2nd.
I'm gonna share the screen while you're talking. Take the comment down for 1 minute for me. Before you take the comment down, Sharon is asking, put the comment back up. Sorry, Mackenzie. I know you're like, hey, what do you want me to do, Kim? Okay, give me 1 second. Sharon says, sounds super interesting and fun, but I'm so far away. How can I join this amazing group?
Rob?
Well, so during 2020, as many of you know, we did have this thing, the COVID thing, And obviously, with a lot of CF patients involved in the hike, we had to be sure that we were taking all the precautions necessary that we could. And Steph, who doesn't get enough credit for the amazing work that she does, we're not worthy, pivoted and was able to put together a really amazing, what we call kind of virtual hike, build your own hike. And people from anywhere were able to essentially sign up and do their fundraising from wherever they were. We had kind of virtual training hikes. So when folks were there in person, there was enough conversation and exposure online and in the chat groups and in emails and stuff so that those who weren't with us knew what we were doing and could kind of like copy that on their side.
Right.
And then on hike day, people were doing live streams and updates when they were doing their own hike. And in some cases, that was, hiking a 2-mile loop over and over and over 15 times until they hit the 30.1 miles. In others, it was, a greenway in their city or hiking in the woods somewhere where they lived out west, wherever it is. And I believe, and I am making this up, so Steph, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that option is still open for folks, and that would be a phenomenal way to join us, and we'd love to have you. The more, the merrier.
That's
A
awesome.
huge part of this is making sure that people,
That's huge.
because I mean, so many folks just like me. I'm sure I had heard it, but there's lots of information out there, and I just didn't have any idea that it was a thing
I had
until
never heard of cystic fibrosis until one of my children, till Jayla got diagnosed. I was like, what
right,
is that? And you said she
right,
got it from us, from the parents? African Americans would not know to ask another African American, do you have a CF? Are you a carrier of the CF gene? I don't even know what that was. Never
right.
even heard of it.
Yeah. And it's wild. So that that awareness is a huge part of what we're doing. But I know I got off on a tangent. Sorry about that. It culminates in this hike weekend. So Friday, everybody shows up in the hike. It's a hotel essentially,
I'm gonna share the
not
screen.
essentially actually. And we do the dinner as I mentioned. Everybody goes to bed early. And then we wake up super early in the morning, get dropped off on the trail, and we start our hike. And as we go, there are aid stations along the way. So we have people with ham radios and GMRS radios that are constantly watching hikers and everybody's progress as we go. So even though there may be moments in time where you feel like you're all alone in the woods and nobody's looking after you, there are eyes on you from a million different directions. So it's a perfectly safe, um,
Wow.
completely reasonable, fun time. At each of the aid stations, you can get food and water and all kinds of stuff like that. See your loved ones who can stop by. And as things progress, you hit those aid stations. By the time you hit about mile 27, your feet are a little bit tired. And, you slowly sort of drift your way into the finish line. And it is an extremely emotional event because that effort, the effort that you've put in through training, through fundraising, and then through actually going and doing this hike,
Yeah,
it makes it matter that much more.
it
And
sounds like it.
when
Now,
folks cross the finish line, there's lots of tears
hmm.
and then a big party afterwards. And of course, that's, as you can imagine, that's my favorite part.
Now these are the dates again here. So just tell them I pulled it up so people can see it. You all can screenshot it. And so one of you speak to that one more time, the dates.
Yeah, I'll hit that. So it's a 3-day event, even though it's a 1-day hike. So September 30th through October 2nd, as you saw in the video and as Rob was saying, and it's on the Appalachian Trail, 30.1 miles in 1 day on the Appalachian Trail. This year, we're actually offering a shorter hike. We've had a lot of people who have been loving that, including a lot of our retirees. We have quite a bit of people over the age of 65 that are joining the extreme hike as kind of their next challenge. So we've added a shorter trail, not just, for that age group, but for any age group. People kind of jump into their training and assess where they are on hike day. So there's the opportunity to hike the 30.1 or hike the 20.1 mile route, even on the day of the hike if you get up and you're like, I'm having a bad day. And yes, you can participate from far away, from outside the United States, not only the virtual hike that Rob was talking about, but you can fly in for the event weekend if you'd love, and we'd love to have you. The 3-month training program that he was talking about that we're in right now, and that we do twice a year, is designed for you to do it on your own. So we have people from Wales, Canada, the UK, the rest of the UK, Chicago, California, signed up for the extreme hike right now. So we'd love to have you from wherever you are. But if you'd like to sign up as a virtual hiker, that is using the link, the WNC extremehike.org/fall 2022. And you can sign up as a virtual hiker to hike for Jayla, Jeremiah, and Ivan if you'd like.
Please, I mean, if you all want to support me in any way here at the Kim Jacobs Show, you would definitely be doing me an honor to be able to be a part of the WNC extremehike.org/fall 2022. And if for some reason you can't be a part of the fall because you're like, oh my gosh, I can't get it ready that quick mentally or whatever, we're going to also give you another opportunity, and that is going to be for what time frame and where would they go to find out information?
Yeah, so we do 2 hikes a year, and as the video said, we switch it to the different parts of the Appalachian Trail so that hikers are getting bits and pieces of it all. Our spring hike, we have a spring and a fall hike, takes place April 26th through 28th, 2023. And you can go to that website, or you can email me at scherry@cff.org if you want more information on how to get ready for this spring extreme hike in 2023.
Okay, y'all, listen, you have a lot of marching orders and in a great way to be able to help find a cure for cystic fibrosis. I see Mackenzie. Can people participate on it outside of the United States? That's Mackenzie's question.
Yeah, I think we already answered that, but
Yeah.
the virtual hike is a great opportunity. And you can come in for the weekend. Once again, with your commitment to fundraising, we cover the cost of the weekend. So travel is really all you need to get there. And we'll be staying in Asheville, North Carolina, for the fall hike. So I can help get you set up, and I take care of all of the hotel arrangements once you get signed up on our website.
Okay. And now you all have each you've done this walk yourself. So Stephanie, how many times have you done the walk?
I have done this 4 times. I've done it twice on the Appalachian Trail and 2 virtual hikes during the pandemic, where I built out my own 30-mile hike in Charlotte and actually at Crowder's Mountain, the foothills. So I did 30 miles there. But these guys are impressive. They've done it more times than I have.
I did 3 miles. Just let me be very clear. And I saw your question, Mackenzie. Am I going to be doing it? We just keep me in prayer, and we'll see. You never know how God's going to work in the near future. But my children are very interested in being a part of something new that's also happening that I'm sure maybe Stephanie will mention. And all of them are like, have they said anything yet? Have they told us anything? How do we do this? So I'll give you that detail. Crowder's Mountain, I did about 3 miles, and I'm telling you, I had to like soak in Epsom salt and do all. I was like, seriously, I had a whole stick. I had one of my kids go out in the woods. I said, give me a stick like I was Moses. I was like, but I made it. All right, Chef Rob, how many times have you done it?
5 that I can recall. And 4 of those were on the Appalachian Trail. 1 was in the Grand Canyon, but we don't speak of that. No, I'm just kidding. But I will say that the number one rule of hikes is that the final 3% is always the most painful, no matter how far you're going, whether it's 3 miles or 30 miles. I don't know why the rule works that way, but that's how it goes. And I'm telling you, if you feel a little reluctant to say, wow, 30 miles is a long way, we can get you there. We really can. This program is tried and true. I've done it 5 times, and I'm in no way, shape, or form a triathlete or anything like that. Yeah.
Wow. I'm so impressed. Now, Russ, do us the honors of letting us know, first of all, how many times you've done this walk. So go ahead, you tell us that first.
I've done the extreme hike 10 times. My first was in 2011. Yeah. My most recent was this spring. So I tell you, I'll give you the pitch for it. It is an amazing experience. I was couched to 30 miles. I hadn't done a whole lot of hiking in my lifetime, and but the overall experience is this: that while you get the satisfaction of supporting an organization like the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, for children like yours, Kim, and the many other children, young adults that I've known, supporting them is amazing. And then the second piece of it is this is just a personal challenge and a personal triumph. When you cross that finish line after hiking 30 miles, starting in the dark with a headlamp on your head, 12, 14, maybe 15 hours later, it's just exhilarating. There's just nothing like it. And you can walk away knowing that you're in a fairly elite group of people that have put in 30 miles in one day on the Appalachian Trail.
And Russ he's being modest here, but listen to how long. Okay, something's happened in your life because you were born with cystic fibrosis. Literally, statistically, it's not possible for you to technically be here, right? Statistically. But something happened in your life. And if everybody in the comments in the virtual studio audience wants to know, then put it in the comments section. Say hashtag Russ Jackson. Let's just hashtag Russ Jackson. And let's find out what happened with Russ. So go ahead and tell us, even though I'm giving them an assignment, I'm still telling you to go ahead and tell us too.
Well, like I said earlier, when I was born, my life expectancy was about 5 years old. And that was just the current state of affairs. And then through lots of work with the foundation, different therapies, lots of doctor treatments, I did, fairly well through my teenage years and was able to be active and even, played soccer in high school. 20s were 20s, and then as my 30s came along, my health deteriorated. The statistic is with the lung capacity generally, historically, has deteriorated about 3% a year for someone with cystic fibrosis. When I was in high school, my lung capacity was about 72% of normal. And so you take 3% of that away from you by the time you get to my 30s. It was pretty low. It was under 30% and then down even below 20% in my later 30s. And honestly, I was, it's what they call end stage lung disease. In other words, I was on the way out. And I was very fortunate to have a double lung transplant performed at Duke University in 2003. And the statistics for those at the time was there was a 65% chance that I would be alive in 1 year after having this transplant. And 19 years later, I'm still here, doing well enough to hike 30 miles on the Appalachian Trail. And I don't take the credit for that. I take credit for the doctors and the therapies that the foundation has created, the meds that the foundation has funded the research for over the years. It's just, I'm incredibly blessed to be here and grateful to all the people along the way who've worked to raise money to combat this disease, because it is a life-threatening disease. And,
yes. And I'm probably more emotional because I have 3 children that live with this disease that, again, went undiagnosed. So we didn't even know. And now they are walking around living their lives. But I hear all of these different stories. And to hear your story is such a story of inspiration for me. So these are like happy tears, I guess. I guess that's what you call it. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what kind of host I am over here. You're like, we cannot have Kim host us at all because she's crying.
That's understood. I'm telling you, I get emotional when I speak to parents and grandparents, and this is specifically for you, Kim. I've spoken to so many people who are parents, grandparents of kids with CF, and here's my spiel. I have this disease. I own this disease. I've lived with it. I've fought it. I've endured it. This is my thing. But I honestly can't imagine what it would be like to be a parent of a child with CF. That to me is devastating. Fighting the disease is one thing, but caring for a child or a loved one or a grandchild is overwhelming to me. So you're the inspiration, honestly. And I'm not I'm not blowing smoke. I'm serious. The parents and the family members and just the hikers that have become family to these CF kids. That's what's amazing. It's just incredible that people can endure that.
People don't have a clue. People have no clue when they see Kim Jacobs, the balance doctor, and I'm balancing my life. So you all get to see, the talk show version of Kim Jacobs or the ministry version of Kim Jacobs or whatever it is that you see, the author version, blah, blah, all of these different hats. But the mother of 3 cystic fibrosis children, it is nothing but the grace of God, nothing but the grace of God that gives a mother or a father or grandmother or grandfather or CF volunteers the strength to be able to see and witness all that CF patients have to experience, the amount of medications they have to take, the shaky vest, you name it. It's all kinds of stuff in order for them just to have the ability to have clearance in their airway. It's an amazing thing to be a part of. And so I give all glory and honor to my Lord, because I believe that gives me more hope for me personally. Okay. Thank you for sharing your story. Much love to the awareness of this disease. Dennis Spraggin says, go ahead and pop some comments up. Athena says, thank you to each panelist and their testimonies. Kim Jacobs, thank you for sharing your children's journey. Also, God is amazing and he blesses us all. Yes, yes. Thank you. She's our sunshine expert here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So sometimes on Fridays you see her. Cheryl gave lots of hearts. Okay. Any other comments? Awesomeness. No. Luis is saying, okay. Awesomeness. A Facebook user is saying, look what the Lord can do. All right, Cheryl, glad to have you. And Kim, thank you for the CF Friday. It's a great topic in education, exposure of learning and teaching. Okay. What do you think? I want to make sure that one of you all address, especially with hiking and people are touching and there's a lot of closeness. Are CF patients allowed to hike together on this trail? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, that's a good question. We actually have a couple people with cystic fibrosis hiking with us this time. And the way that we're allowed to do that is the event is fully outdoors. I think that what Kim is alluding to, and I'm not sure that our guests know, is that people with cystic fibrosis aren't supposed to be within 6 feet of each other, just like all of the protocol that we went through for the pandemic. They've been doing this for their entire lives. Hand sanitizing, wearing masks, the 6-foot distancing rule. And that's not from you or I, that's from other people with cystic fibrosis. And that's because they carry microbacteria that can be spread between one another that can't be spread between you and I. So in the past, we have always said that only one person with cystic fibrosis can attend an event unless it's outdoors. And then we have our 6-foot policy, our hand sanitizing policy, and our masking policy. So we do have 4 people with cystic fibrosis who are hiking with us this fall. And the presentation component on Friday and Sunday and Saturday night, the open bar will be all outdoors. And we space people away from each other and put them on different sides of the hotel to make sure that we're following our infection control policy.
That's great. Thank you. Now, Sharon had a question. She said, thank you. This is an eye opener. And now I'm wondering if I'm one of those carriers. And I see in the picture, it looks like you're African-American, unless that's a different profile. I have been diagnosed with bronchitis and I get this wheezing thing so very often. And now I will try my best to get tested for the disease. And if you would I can definitely tell you because my children got tested. It's a simple skin test. They make some sweat appear on your glands, and then they take some kind of sticky substance, like somebody else might be able to explain it better. But all I saw is that they pulled some sweat glands, and they were able to run the test and got the results that they had cystic fibrosis. So it's non-invasive, is my point.
Russ, do you have any info on the sweat test that you can tell people?
Well, It was a little over 60 years ago. That was a very long time ago. And so I don't remember the test, but I do remember this little story about the test, and that so the test largely hasn't changed in that many years. It's just collecting sweat from your skin, like you said, Kim. But in my case, I was 6 months old, and the way they had to do the test was to sort of wrap the infant or wrap the child up in some plastic to generate the sweat. And I had been my father was holding me in his arms, and I was just really hot natured and had already started to sweat. When they came out to get me, they were so excited because there was natural sweat, and they'd never done natural sweat before. So anyway, it is a very simple test, so that it's not invasive and blood work or anything like that. So but I'm sure that somebody that found at the local chapter with Stephanie could probably give you a doctor within I don't want to mention my doctor's name because that's not but anyway, it's a simple test.
Excellent.
Yeah. And if you want access to any resources for cystic fibrosis, if you think that you want to get tested, that you might have it, we're not doctors. We're just special event fundraisers and volunteers. You can call 1-800-COMPASS. That is for all families with cystic fibrosis, all people with cystic fibrosis. They can connect you with someone who would put you in touch with a doctor who can administer the sweat test.
1-800-COMPASS.
Yeah, I think it's a great awareness piece to get out there. And if you feel you're having symptoms, remember, we can't diagnose anything, but the biggest thing that people with cystic fibrosis see early on, if you think this is something you have, once again, is the salt on top of your skin. You can literally wipe it and taste it. So
Yes.
if you think you have CF and you're also exhibiting those symptoms, then call 1-800-COMPASS, and they'll their case managers, so they'll hook you up with any resources that are available, period.
Excellent. Excellent. And Rob, I don't know if you ever sent me any photos or not. If so, I didn't get them. So just want to make sure. Okay.
That's okay. I only sent one, and Doc sent it to me. It was the day that I got my trail name.
Where is it? Where did you send it to my, don't yell it out, but did you send it to my personal one that was in the private?
To your email. Yeah.
And it came from your email from Chef Rob?
Yeah, let me take a look.
Okay.
Real quick.
Sorry, I wanted to say, since Rob was talking about how he's done 4 hikes on the Appalachian Trail, one that won't be named because he got injured in a way that he doesn't want to talk about. The Extreme Hike program is not just in the Western Carolinas chapter. It started here, like the video said, but it is ballooned into a national program that's raised $20 million in just 14 years. We've raised locally $7.5 million on our team, but now we have hikes in Yosemite, the Pacific Crest Trail, the Adirondacks, the Grand Canyon. So we're on these iconic parts of the trails all over the country, and we have 22 extreme hikes. So just because you're not in the US, and it doesn't have to be our extreme hike that you sign up for, you can visit extremehike.org and look at all of the hikes that we have available and contribute in that way.
Yes, yes. I am so glad that you all have taken the time to be here today and to share such profound information in ways that people can make a difference in this whole CF fight. And I'm excited about it. You gave me such inspiration and hope today. And I did see a comment. I don't want our program to only be one that everybody that shares other beliefs can't say their beliefs. So somebody said, let's see. So you'll notice I'll pop some comments up that may be controversial. And Woody says, hey, if there's no God, can't we cure this disease? Let's leave the make-believe man in the sky out of this conversation. So what I want to say to you, Woody, just so you know, is that everybody, I believe you're allowed to hang your hat and your soul on whatever it is that you believe. Here on the Kim Jacobs Show, we have no condemnation for whatever anybody chooses to believe. And so your comment is welcomed as just like any of ours. Okay. All right. And so, but everybody believe what you want to believe, and that's your total prerogative. James, I didn't put your comment up, but anybody that's over there on Facebook, James is looking for some donations for helping starving people in his country as well, but it'll cover the whole screen, the comments. So that's the only reason I didn't put it up, but I do thank you all so much for all of you. Okay. So I see y'all are going back and forth regarding Woody's comment, and Mackenzie, especially on behalf of the Kim Jacobs Show. Anyway, I don't want any debating pertaining to that. So make sure you all know that. What are some basic ways as we get ready to close out here? Is there anything that you didn't share that you wanted to share, Steph, Russ, or Chef Rob?
I always tell folks, sorry, Russ, I was waiting for you to
No, go
jump
ahead.
in and then we did it at the same time. I always tell people, intent is what matters, regardless of your beliefs. And with cystic fibrosis, there is a cure. It exists. The only thing that is standing between us and that cure is time and money. And the more money we have, the shorter that time is going to be. And so when it boils down to it, there's a lot of work that's being done. There's a lot of personal stories, as we've all seen here today. But when it comes down to it, money talks, and it shortens that time for us to get to that cure. And if you have the means, please consider giving money to this cause. That's what really makes the difference.
Yes, thank you, Russ.
I would add, if I can add real quickly to that, there's everyone wants your money, and you hear a lot about donations. But what's very important about the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, cff.org, is research them, and you will realize that it is one of the most efficient organizations for fundraising versus administrative costs versus the money that goes into research and patient care. And Stephanie, is it about 85 cents on the dollar? Is that okay?
Yep.
So you compare that 85 cents on the dollar that you donate to the CF Foundation that goes into research and patient care, compare that to other organizations, and you will see that if you're concerned about how your money would be used, this is the place to put it.
Awesome comment. All right, you guys, you all are, first of all, incredible. Chef Rob, Russ Jackson. And I want to make sure that Steph Cherry gets a chance to have a closing comment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys can't join us for the fall hike, we thank you all for being on the show today, or the spring hike, which was April 28th through the 30th, and you can donate. Rob's actually currently fundraising for his fall extreme hike. So you can use the link, which we've popped up a couple different times, which is wncextremehike.org/fall 2022. And you can donate to Rob Anderson if you'd like to support the cause, but don't feel that you can sign up for the extreme hike at the moment.
Now, everybody that's watching today, and I'm big on like accountability. And so it's like, put it out in the atmosphere. If you plan on just donating to this cause, I didn't say walking the 30 miles today, but if you just plan on donating to this cause, put I'm in. Extreme hike, put something, let us know I'm donating. I'm going to be a part of this. I want to support. And again, keep in mind, sometimes I will ask you all to contribute to the Kim Jacobs Show. I took the scroller down today, and I know you all will Cash App and do online contributions. I didn't ask that today. What I'm asking you to do today is anything that you would donate to the Kim Jacobs Show. Guess what? Donate it to wncextremehike.org/fall 2022. WNCX, the letter X, I have to do that for podcast listeners, TREME hike.org/fall 2022. All right. So I thank you all so much for being here. Stay connected with Rob Anderson at chefhikes.com and with Russ Jackson at Russ Jackson 14, and email Stephanie Cherry if you just want to learn more. Maybe it was something that didn't get addressed here today in this 1 hour. Email her scherry@cff.org. There is a way, no matter where you are, Liberia, Kenya, Guyana, all of the places that you all said today, there is a way for all of you, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., wherever, for you to get involved. Email scherry@cff.org to find out more. All right. Anything else? I think we've covered everything we could cover in an hour. My mom said I am in. Yay. So my mom is visiting, and she said she is in for
Thanks,
sure.
Ella.
And I'm always in because I have 3 children that are definitely in. Okay. Oh, say something about the youth thing right quick before we get off.
The junior extreme hike. We are looking to build a junior extreme hike in 2023. So if you have kids that are involved, we're starting to plan what that's going to look like. It's definitely going to be on the Appalachian Trail. It's definitely going to be less miles, but we have a lot of kids interested in the North Carolina area. So if you want to teach your kids the importance of fundraising, this is a great opportunity to get them outside, get them fundraising. It's a great resume builder. I've added, that to our kiddos' resumes already, that we're starting to build a committee for the junior extreme hike and things like that. So that's coming soon. Email me about that if you have kids who are interested.
Yes, all three of my children are interested, and they helped raise about $150,000 for a recent fundraiser towards the cure for cystic fibrosis. They take it very seriously, and there are a lot of other children that live with this disease that are CF ambassadors, and they are on a mission, meeting with Congress. I know my children just recently met with Congress to help pass a antibiotic pasture act type of thing. So it's a lot of work behind the scenes that all of you all are doing. Thank you to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. You are amazing. Thank you to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation in the Western Carolinas area. That's where my location is. But thank you, each of you. You are amazing.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Kim.
I think I gotta get off because I don't want to go because I just love you guys and I feel like I'm family now. But everybody, listen, Monday, tune back in. We'll see you right here on the Kim Jacobs Show at 11 o'clock a.m. talking about living by design, not just by default, but living by design. We'll be back on next week. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. See you all again at 11 o'clock a.m. Monday, Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.